So I did the program for three main reasons. So firstly, I wanted to develop my network. I wanted to develop my leadership skills. And also I wanted to know a little more about what's required to get on a board. And I'd very confidently and satisfactorily say that this program met all of my objectives. Perhaps the biggest takeaway for me was the marked rise in my confidence and my ability to communicate. So as Claire mentioned, there is like a communication session and a presentation session. And the feedback I got from there was, for me, quite eye-opening, because sitting next to me and receiving that positive feedback was very encouraging. And it made me feel that, yes, the voice I have, the points I have to make are valued. And this level of self-belief, the self-awareness that I brought with me out of this course has helped me open doors within my organization. So I work at a big data startup, and the executive leadership team there have since then made observations that I've stepped up, and they're seeing a big change in my leadership abilities, and they've even invited me to the executive meetings every week, which is a huge transformation and a huge step up for me. So very happy with that. The other thing I got out of the course was down to a very succinct narrative. And that is very powerful, because when you step into a meeting, when you step into an interview, or even when you're deciding for yourself what you want to invest your time in next, it helps you frame that discussion, frame the thinking from a solid base that makes sense to you, that aligns with your values, that aligns with your skills and strengths. The mentorship session was very powerful. Now, if you go into that session with a very defined narrative, with a very defined scope and with questions, then the responses and the benefits you get out of it are equally defined, very narrow and very specific. And I found that particularly useful, because when I reflect on the feedback I received and the conversation of that mentorship session, I'd say that without that session, it would have taken me a year to figure that one point out, without that, the level of wisdom that was offered to me from my mentor, who was an HR executive and had done it before and knew everything about it. So let me provide that testament for why that mentorship was very powerful. And another point was, so on the one pager. Now, when I went into that, I just couldn't see how a single page could be so powerful. But you'd be surprised and pleasantly surprised. So the first very powerful impact it had was to help me narrow my purpose, my goals, put in as much effort as you can, because the reward is likely to be carried on for several months and years following that. So it's a lifetime thing that you keep working on. A final takeaway, I'd say, is that the participants, the conductors of this program, so like the facilitators, are very engaging. They convey an interest in your career, which is far beyond just that 90-minute session. Like, I never felt it was, your time's up and that's it. I've had an opportunity to speak to a lot of the people at WARB outside of this setting, and they were very personable, very encouraging, and made the time to really take an interest in you